Deja vu, the accidental save reload. You walk into a cafe, the clatter of a tray, the low hum of conversation, the barista calling out an order, a name you already know before she says it. A black cat dashes past your legs, and then it hits you. You have seen this before. Exactly this. You don't just recognize the moment, you remember what happens next. The man at the window will check his watch, the woman at the counter will drop her keys. In 10 seconds the door will swing open, but you already know who's coming through. Science says deja vu is a glitch, a brain misfire, a small processing error where your mind accidentally flags the present as a past memory. And if deja vu is just a brain error, why does it feel so eerily accurate? Some believe deja vu isn't a glitch at all. It's proof that time isn't linear, that you've lived this moment before, that maybe you are in a loop. Or worse, you've died in another timeline. And if that's true, how many times have you already been here? Mandela effect. Reality patches while you're AFK. Let's do a test. Does Pikachu have a black tip on his tail? Think carefully. You've seen Pikachu 1,000 times. On cards and games and movies. You know what he looks like. So yes or no? If you said yes, congratulations. You've just experienced the Mandela effect. Pikachu has never had a black tip on his tail. Not in the games, not in the anime, not anywhere. And yet millions of people swear he did. Alright, let's try another one. Does the Monopoly man wear a monocle? Of course he does. You've seen him. The rich old man with a top hat, a suit, and that little monocle over his eye. Except, he doesn't. He never has. The Mandela effect is the strange phenomenon where large groups of people all remember something one way, only to find out that it never existed like that. At least, not anymore. The name comes from Nelson Mandela. Huge numbers of people remember him dying in prison in the 1980s. They recall watching the funeral on TV, seeing the headlines, even discussing it in school. Except that never happened. He was released, went on to become president of South Africa, and died in 2013. So how do millions of people share the same false memory? The official explanation is that human memory is bad. It's faulty, unreliable. A few people misremember something, then they tell others, and before long, the false memory spreads like a virus. If so many people remember things one way, but history says otherwise, what if history changed? What if these are updates to reality, small server-side patches that overwrite the past, but leave behind a few glitches? What if you just didn't get the update? Some believe this is proof that we're shifting between alternate timelines, that every so often we move into a slightly different version of reality, but our memories don't fully sync. Others think this is just bad maintenance. Reality gets patched, but the developers missed a few details. Either way, if you ever notice something changing that shouldn't be able to change, it's already too late. Missing time. The desync error. It's 3:02 p.m. You blink. Now it's 3:47 p.m. You didn't move. You didn't check your phone. You weren't distracted. But somehow 45 minutes have disappeared. The official term is highway hypnosis. When your brain zones out and drives on autopilot. It happens on long, repetitive roads. The idea is that your brain is awake, but your memory stops recording. Sounds reasonable. Except, some people experience missing time when they're not driving. They'll be sitting at home watching TV, and suddenly it's night. A person cleaning their kitchen looks up at the clock and finds an hour missing. Some say it happens when they're mid-conversation. They'll be talking to a friend, and suddenly the other person is looking at them weird, like they just stopped talking for 5 minutes. Some people say that during missing time, they get the feeling that something else was happening, but they just aren't supposed to remember. It's like someone edited the footage, trimmed down the timeline, removed the parts that didn't make the cut. Things we were never meant to see. Bystander effect. When NPCs refuse to trigger the next event. You're walking down a busy street. A person collapses. They hit the ground completely unconscious. A crowd starts forming and nobody moves. You wait for someone to help. Maybe a doctor, maybe a good Samaritan. But instead, everyone just stands there watching. That's the bystander effect. A bizarre glitch where the more people there are, the less likely anyone is to do something. Because everyone assumes someone else will take action. But because everyone assumes that, nobody does. And it gets weirder. There are cases where entire groups of people have just stood there watching something horrible happen even when it would have been extremely easy to help. A person choking in a restaurant, a woman being attacked in broad daylight, even a drowning child. Nobody wants to be the first to move. Nobody wants to take responsibility. It's like they're all stuck in an idle animation waiting for a main character interaction. And what if, just for a second, we consider the possibility that this isn't just human psychology? What if some people really do function like NPCs? What if some only activate when they're directly prompted? And if that's true, then the next time you're in a crowd, look around. Is everyone really playing the same game as you?